welcome everybody to episode 26 of the Eat for Life podcast, your home for entrepreneurship, entertainment, education, and entertainment. I said twice, esports.
That matters.
For sure, we're going to be talking about esports.
That matters. Esports, okay? Make sure you say that because I know that the space looks a little weird, and I know that you pretty much just need a Google button and some money, and you can just join it. But it still does matter, esports. Or professional gaming or pro gaming or whatever. By the way, I'm Sebastian. Good to see you. Welcome back to Eat for Life.
And it's me in the cut, Derek, aka Mr. Dope Work in the building. Excited for another episode. Heartbroken that Red isn't in the building, but I think we'll hold the fort down.
Red,
on our own
we
today.
miss you, yo. We miss you. You balance us, and you keep the crazies off us. That girl was like, "Where's the women? Where's the women? Y'all have the women." I just don't understand how this is Eat for Life. Women don't eat. It's like, yo, chill.
She was coming for the jugular. It's all right though. It's
all good. It's all good. I get it. She was keeping us, keeping us honest. So another week. I have some personal questions that I wanted to ask y'all. So welcome to everybody. I also host events, and I hosted an event for Ford recently, and so I'm back to like my MC shoutcasting skills. And if I was to MC shoutcast this show, what I would do is ask you guys about some of the stuff I've seen this week. So I want to start by asking, what is good Tampa Bay? I've only been to the Hard Rock in Tampa Bay. That's the closest I've been to y'all's city. I think I called you at like midnight, Marcus, and was like, listen, I'm in a casino. It's the Hard Rock Tampa. I'll only be here for a couple hours. But he's like, yeah, it's 12. My kids are asleep. No. But
it wasn't going to make that drive.
But, I've learned about Tampa, and I'm constantly, like, if Tampa comes up, it's so much that my Google alerts come up with Tampa stuff because I talk about it too much. They're listening. So it'd be like, Tampa something, Tampa this. I'd be like, damn, they think I live there. So it starts showing me the weather in Tampa. So I just want to ask, what's it like, the esports temperature in Tampa? I know you guys are a huge factor in that. And what did you think when you saw EEG do the deal with the Bucks, and you guys have been available as resource and tools this entire time, right? Two black men, obviously well-versed in the space, obviously professional, not amateur, and it seems like a company that, I'm going to argue. I spoke with Grant Johnson before. Seems to be an all right guy. Obviously, we know Warren. Shout out to Warren over there.
Shout out to Warren. Yeah.
But it would seem like between the two of you, from my calculation, and let me tell y'all, I know about video games and its culture and its players and a lot of its business. Seems like the scales aren't really even on you guys' knowledge and actual connection to community and actual skill set to EEG, who I guess has a lot of IPs and properties and, can say the word esports a lot of times in one day. What does that make you feel like? What do you think? I saw the post earlier this week on LinkedIn. If you guys didn't see a post, there's a post on Marcus's LinkedIn where he openly expresses his disappointment and frustration in the local ecospace in Tampa because he's approached the Bucks multiple times and other companies as well. And it would seem that traditional business is what has to happen for these companies to even listen in the esports space, which I guess, that's where I'll leave it to you. Can you expand upon it? What it's been like? And I know, Derek, you had some thoughts that was profound. So it's y'all turn. Let me know what's up because I've been interested.
Yeah, it's two sides of the same coin. On the one end, a shout out to the mayor of St. Pete, Mayor Rick Kreisman. He showed a lot of love to us and the community, the ecosystem, letting us host the events and St. Pete College, giving us a lot of support. We had the district representative for Sarasota, Manatee County invited us to come speak to his team, and they're actively working to create opportunities for us. So on the one end, there are people who see the work and appreciate the value we're bringing to the ecosystem. They respect the years and the dollars and the sleepless nights that goes into make this happen.
Right.
But on the other end, you see the Buccaneers, fuck it, the Tampa Bay Lightning and USF are on my shit list because I feel like they recognize we're doing the work, but they don't appreciate the value that we bring to the ecosystem. So like, we're certainly invited to like watch, but we don't get a seat at the table in a significant way relative to the value that we could bring. And it's not even about just like raising us up on the pedestal. We want to make those events more effective, more impactful, and we don't have the ability to because they're not choosing to work with us because they want to go work with the EEG, or if they have a conference, they want to bring in these big names, people who don't look like or know the local community.
Right. And I mean,
it's tough.
And I mean, do you think that? What do you think that does for esports and gaming? Like, if like, do you think that? I just want to know. Do you think that based on these decisions, do you think that matters? And I kind of want to throw that to Derek because I want to ask about what you were saying on the thread about the girl dating, because I thought it's kind of like a slick shot to me because I used to be like, yeah, my girlfriend, but she goes to another school, so you don't know her. But I had to reread it twice because that was my own insecurity. You were saying that the girl is missing the short end of the stick in the long term. Can you expand upon that?
So one thing so I understand economic development. I also understand like city growth. The only way you're able to bring more opportunity to the people here in most cities is by bringing businesses here that will then employ and give opportunity to the people here or encourage other people to move here because the opportunities are here.
Right.
I understand that game 100%.
Right.
But I also understand that for a true ecosystem to survive, thrive, and be diverse, you have to slice the pie up intentionally. You have to say, okay, I'm going to get excited about a group of new people coming, but I'm also going to empower the people that are here as well, because they do know the culture, they do have a vested interest, and they've already believed or invested in the area, in the community, and thus they should be rewarded with opportunity. The flip side to that I also understand is that if you complain about it, as me and Marcus feel like doing, it comes off as if you're just whining and you're asking people to give you a free handout because you haven't done the work to deserve it. Because if you deserved it, you would have gotten the opportunity or whatever you're looking for, feel like you haven't received. And so if you don't have the opportunity or you haven't been embraced the way that you think you should, is because you're doing something wrong from a business perspective, from a brand perspective, from a relationship perspective. And so what that does is that creates entities like me and Marcus that are still small businesses at the end of the day. We're not big dogs. We're not somebody that's walking around with a $20 million, $30 million budget or capital investment. Like, we're true from the ground up, hustling, piecing together because we see the value, you see what we can do for the ecosystem. But because of that, we kind of do need, like, for us people to put us at the table based on the work that we've done so far, like include us in a way that says, hey, we're going to bring someone from the outside here to Tampa, but you must get plugged into with our guys here and gals here that are already building up the space. That's part of the prerequisite. And as the esports ecosystem, because we keep crying about diversity and inclusion, when you come to an area like Tampa where you have a bunch of Black dudes that are doing it in the space, authentic in the space, coding in the space, and the tech industry in the space, here's an opportunity to plug us in. Come knock on our doors when you're coming to our cities or our areas of community and include us, not out of charity, but because it makes sense from a diversity standpoint and it makes sense from an ecosystem standpoint. Because no one outside of a city or community can tap in and understand what's going on in that community, nor can they service it that well from a distance. Yeah, you can do virtual tournaments, virtual events, virtual marketing, paid posts, targeted posts, Facebook ads, all that type of stuff. But the actual boots on ground are knowing, oh, so-and-so is the cool kid in the city. So-and-so is the cool girl in the city. So-and-so is the big dog that's coming up in the city. This venue is a great location. You don't know that unless you've been here and grown up in it. And so we really want esports to succeed and grow and thrive and have diversity. Tap in how you're supposed to tap in.
High Point Gamer.
And we should also be free to call out, not because we want to talk down about somebody, but because we recognize it's an opportunity for growth. Like, what we see in the space, what people lack, especially in the esports industry, they don't know, right? So they go and do by themselves without knowing, and then they do wrong because they don't know when they could have tapped in the guys that know to at least be a liaison along the trip.
It's a story as old as time. Story as old as time. It's as old as video games go, right? Like as old as it goes. Like it's always like you do these things for a long time, right? As a pro player, like we'd always think like, man, what would you say? Forget being a pro player, right? Like let's throw out the window. You guys know, like you used to always be like, man, I would tell these developers this or that, but for a long time they wasn't even listening to the player base. You know what I'm saying? Like for a long time, esports comes in and now it's like we can make money off the player base, but we don't really need the players to build what it is. You know what I mean? And that couldn't be further from the truth. And players isn't just the kids now who are playing, but it is people like you guys who are players who now have started businesses. It doesn't really make a lot of sense to me. I'm always confused because, again, this is me, again, I'm not criticizing. I met Grant Johnson, I talked to him on LinkedIn. Good dude, Warren, very smart about NFTs, all these things, but we can just lay track records out, and it's just like, you know, one side, this is you and Marcus, has been doing it for so long and actually is in it and day by day is like there, and then the other side is more like a structure, like we're going to build something in esports and we have a big funding and big backing and we're going public and we can do this. And it's like, you know, I don't speak for these two, but like this is just business and politics as usual for the NFL. Like I just have to say, like I'm not looking to work with the NFL. I have no problem if I did work with them, but I have to be honest for the space. And like this is like, you know, not just in our space, but across the board in diversity and anything. The NFL seems to be tone deaf. Like this goes right along with what they do in other aspects. And I can only base that on what I've seen and then what I'm seeing now. And I just don't really understand it. I have to be honest. Like, I just don't understand it. Like, it's easy to stay here and say, oh, they don't know, or obviously they don't want it, they don't want, or what, like, just make assumptions. But I really am curious to be like, how in 2021, when you see these stories over and over again, who is still writing these papers unless, again, not accusing anybody of anything, unless there's some kind of agenda. I can't put anything else on. It's like, hey, this works. Look, we have case studies proving. And you're just like, yeah, good, but I'd rather do this. It's like, what do you want me to think? You know what I mean? Like, what do you want me to think? It would only seem that there is an agenda happening. And, because then you back it up with the whole entire space being 2% of African Americans as players and employees. Like, it's just like, hello? Like, again, I think of this a couple way back in the beginning when we were doing this. I was like, hello? Like, you're watching this right now. Like, does that make a lot of sense to you? Right? And if it doesn't, then how do we as the people, and this is a question for you guys, how do we as the people, the players, the small businesses, the entities that are interested in space, seeing it grow, how do we take our power back so that things like this don't just continue to happen until this industry's propped up on, venture capital and people who don't actually care about what happens in the space in the next 10 years?
I don't know if there's a silver bullet for it. I think that we're on the right track. Again, we've got some support from the city of St. Pete, and that includes the mayor's office and St. Pete College, and we've got some access, a little bit of access to the Rays and different stakeholders. Synapse is now helping us where we didn't necessarily have that support 2 or 3 years ago. Mm-hmm. But I think that's the only solution that I can see. I mean, it's working for us, so there might be A, biased, and B, anecdotal, but I don't know any other way but to like hustle and grind and like show up every day and give 120%. Like stay ready so you don't have to get ready. That's all I know.
Oh, you get a chain for that.
I think from just being a small business and a black business, I know that the only thing you can do is keep doing your thing. Like that's the only option, or either you bow out, because
or sell out.
Complaining sounds like you're whining. Keeping your head down and grinding also seems like you're being a bitch though, because you're not speaking up for what's going on.
Right.
So you're in this constant balance of turmoil between I don't want to be a bitch, but I also don't want to be whining.
Right.
So I'm a battle today, and I might complain or be truthful tomorrow. Then I'll get back on my grind and keep going, because we really see the value in the space. It's not just I want to do it to win. It's like the real value of esports and the gaming system and the ecosystem is providing the opportunity to really make this an ecosystem. Right. It's not like you can't come into the game and say, oh, I want to benefit. I see the value in it, but I don't see the value in the actual people that I could help uplift in the space to make it a real viable thing. Like, you can't come in and say, I want to do esports because it has so many opportunities, but then your ability to give opportunity, you close the door and give out none. That's what I see a lot of the big organizations do. Like we tout, everyone uses the same fucking deck to talk about esports and gaming and the benefits of
the
it.
Same images.
But we only, like, they cuff the expansion of it. Like, okay, if it's an opportunity, then therefore you say you want diversity and inclusion, don't just go get a black influencer to be in front of the camera. When you're booking that black influencer to be part of your diversity and inclusion, who's doing the photos? Is that a black person? Who's doing the video? Who's doing the graphic? Who else within the economic chain is still benefiting more than the person that you got? Like, that's what real diversity and inclusion needs to be. It needs to be, if I'm going to tap in, let me allow a way that taps them into the economic resources. But everybody's scared of that because there's power in economics. So it's almost like, I want you at the table happy and entertaining. But if I say, let's divvy up this, 10 million? How am I going to divvy up this? Like, what would I say divvying up this 10 million looks like? You should get $100 out of every 10 million. You should get 5. This group should get $200. Who controls that? The person that's getting all the money in the first place gets to divvy it up how they want to.
Right. And I think that's what and that's what clearly the fight is right now, right? Like that, the fight is they're trying to grab real estate now. So then when everything lays out, they're the ones distributing. But no, it's not gonna happen. And I just want to add on to what you're saying, because I love everything you're saying. I think it goes into I think that what happens is, this is the first time, and I can't speak for all black folks, you know what I'm saying? But I'm gonna speak for the ones I know, like Derek and Marcus. And, we're just not gonna let this ecosystem go like other ecosystems. I'll give you an example. Like, the NBA slowly rolled in, like, integration and all those things. And then eventually what followed the integration was, because you have that inclusion, you can look into the culture and see, like, okay, like, this guy Kareem Abdul-Jabbar comes in, he creates this shot, or this guy Magic Johnson comes in and he's doing like no looks, and all these things become a part of the culture, right? Like, you don't have to be in the NBA for those things to now, you can go to any basketball court and those things are there now forever, right? That's not there in esports. And no, I'm not saying it's because no one else can create it, but it's obvious that this looks like the NBA in the 40s, right? Or whatever it was called, the ABA back then. This looks like it. This go round, what I don't think needs to happen is you slowly drip in, like, you got FaZe Clan with a couple dudes in there that's like, they're black guys that they're bringing in, which they brought in after, all their criticism. Like, let's just be real. I'm calling it what it is. I mean, they have been jacking the culture. I'm public about that, and you guys know that. They have been jacking the culture for Lord knows how long. The dude Banks, I want to say, who's that? Jeffrey Paps, like the CEO of sales or whatever, like, whatever positions they have, they've been jacking swag for I don't know how long. Like, they essentially them having kids who are from the suburbs throwing up gang signs in a way to, like, take that culture of what they see from, you know what I mean? Like, they have been doing that for, like, we all know it. Everybody knows it. If you're seeing this, you know it. But they finally, after George Floyd, rest in peace, and all, everything that happened last year, now there's 2-3 black guys. There's a head of diversity, a black guy. We see that. And that's good. Good for those brothers. That's great. That's great. But what I'm saying is that follows the same pattern as how the NBA did. Like, seems like we're losing money or we're losing opportunity because we don't have it. And I think that what we need to change is, we got to come together and make it, a black thing to have our own space. And the FGC was the first look at that. Like, I noticed, like, that was the first thing. But even there, what Derek said, I know a lot of those FGC guys, and there's a lot of greed. A lot of, everybody, it's crabs in a barrel. We black. So when you got somebody who starts making six figures off of kids wanting to come play fighting games, they're going to box out a lot of people instead of letting it happen organically. So you get what you get. But I challenge everybody to think about the great equalizer. Like, we got gaming, we got mobile. They can't box you out from every angle. We need to balance the scales a little bit and really understand that we have to start by claiming the land. Like, don't come in and join. I don't want a bunch of black kids to join the Overwatch League and make the Overwatch League one of the popular things in America. And as Derek said, that goes to somebody else who goes, oh, you guys are good. You know what? Let's renegotiate. Like, I want to start from the other end first. Like, the owner to the top down is diversity or BIPOC or whatever, so that we can make this right from the start equal. Because what you want me to say? Like, it's different now? 2% in 2021 is like ridiculous. Like, what is it? Do we not exist? Do we not know how to do
That's the crazy part about it, is that, we over-index as consumers, but it's like 83% of black teens play video games. Like 15% higher than every other racial demographic. The black community is the highest consumer in the U.S. of gaming industry, across all demographics.
Right.
And yet we're represented at 2% on the creative side, and probably less than that on the ownership side.
Right. Which is just like, I think that formula has been that's why I brought that ABA, the MBA, all that. That formula is the same thing. Like, now it's going to be like, oh, well, yeah, we got, we have this black player. We have you look at, speaking of FaZe, you look at their Call of Duty team, that Atlanta FaZe. It's like, boy, if you ever been to Atlanta, it's like, you would think Atlanta is fucking not the blackest city you ever been to. Shout out to Atlanta, my old home. You know what I'm saying? Like, you would think it's not. You would think there's no, you want to tell me in the whole Atlanta, those were all the nicest kids at Call of Duty? That's what you want to tell me? Or you want to tell me they all had PCs and you ran the data based on who has PCs? And it's just going to continue to happen unless we decide to make consoles the standard. That's what I'm saying. Like, if you say, yeah, this is a console-only tournament, and we make it the hottest, then it's going to be the hottest. You see what I'm saying?
The other thing we got to do, though, is vote with our wallets, right? Derek and I were having this conversation about NBA Top Shot, and I'll be the first to say, like, I was hyping the shit out of NBA Top Shot. Like, we did the cryptocurrency episode, piece of that, and I owe you $30, right? But he made a great point. It's like, all it is really is like that same cycle of appropriating and monetizing black culture, black community, and not putting the dollars back into the community. If you go and watch, and maybe they've changed it since then, so maybe this is just early days, but when I went to all of their streams, I didn't see anybody that looked like me. I saw, they use the language. It's very evident that they were particular and intentional about using urban language in the website. They use urban music. Like, it feels black, but there's nobody on the ownership side who is black. So as they're raising $350 million, boosting, $1 billion valuation or whatever, like, none of that money comes from us, but it doesn't come back to us. Right. So I just stopped buying NBA Top Shot because I'm not going to feed into the same problem.
And it's that same thing. That's what we're going to coin it right now, the ABA to the NBA. That's what we're talking about. If you guys don't know, do your research, but that's what it is. It's like, you say, and Derek said it perfect. It's like, okay, come in and do everything, but then, like, I'll distribute and tell you how much you're worth. And this doesn't have to be like that, right? Especially going into, like, the decentralized spaces we're going into, blockchain, crypto. That's why we started this podcast, to educate y'all. You know what I'm saying? And you ain't got to be black to get this education. The world is already how it is, whether you black or white. These are things that are happening around you. So if you want to get ownership and you're not black, but you recognize that there's somebody black next to you who might not, understand the things you understand because of where they're from, economic disparities in education or whatever, send them this podcast and let them watch it, because that's what we're talking about. We need to change the world, and gaming is the perfect avenue to do it, because everybody can do it. Everybody can do it. That's the thing. Everybody can do it. Everybody might not, but it might not be their muse, like it's our muse, but it opens up so many doors that when we talk about the ABA, NBA thing, well, we were just talking about a small group of people anyway, because not every brother can make it to the NBA. We was talking about a small group anyway when we was talking about football and all those other sports. This is something where it can bring significant economic change. And you know what? I'm going to say it on record, is that and you know this in your heart if you're watching this, and you know this in your heart if you know, that's black, white, Puerto Rican, and Haitian. Black folks bring culture to things, right? They bring culture. They bring their own vibe, their own way of doing it. This is just the history. Go look at history. This is not me saying this because I mean, I am pretty much over probably black. In fact, if I die, I'm coming back black again. But I want to say that if I was outside of me looking down, I would say these people spend over on the index, right? Like they spend and buy and do things because they're trying to create and grasp, you know, a sense of ownership. They don't have it. They ain't gonna have it because why? Because you don't own much. You know what I'm saying? But you can, and what they should own and what they don't own is two different things. They don't own land and resources and all those things, but they should own their content. Epic Games, right? Epic said, you know what? We want to sell this game. We're gonna take what PUBG is doing, make it a game, and we're gonna put a bunch of black dancers in it and a bunch of stuff, and then we're gonna sell it. And sold it, and paid a bunch of lawyers to say, yeah, y'all can't take it from us. Well, you can't patent this. We need to avoid that kind of stuff because that stuff is going to keep us where we're at now, right? Like the NBA, something similar I thought about, Derek, with the NBA was like when Iverson brought in the culture and clothes were selling out of the stores. Clothes were selling out of the stores because this kid Bubba Chuck from Virginia is literally, you know, coming in with sagging pants, big chains, and the rappers want to be them. The rappers is looking like the basketball players. Right? When the basketball players usually look like the rappers, he switched it. NBA goes, nope, change. Now you can only wear suits. But we will sell Iverson dolls, jerseys, everything else, and we'll give you your piece of it. That's what we're not trying to have happen again. So we're not trying, not because we want to be all these people who have small hearts and sensitive skin are like, they want it to be like a black revolution or whatever. That's you, and you need to dig through that. We're talking about the actual reality of it. We're talking about how TikToks are, this is why you're seeing the bans on Twitch, or the skip outs, or what's the word, or boycotts on Twitch and boycotts on TikTok. Because these kids ain't dumb as, I'll say, we, our parents and all back, not dumb, but, dealing with it. They recognize that their equity in technology, they're not getting left behind. They're not going to get left behind going into this metaverse. So I cheer them on, and I implore you, if you see this, to take the right step in the right direction and help everybody get a piece of this game. Because right now what you're seeing, that's why I see out this EEG and Bucks deal, is like they just pretty much told y'all like, well, you know what? We like what you're doing, but we don't like the idea of you telling us what to do or how to do it. So we're going to hire them, and then maybe they'll hire you. We'll recommend you.
That's what bugs me about it, right? Is because if hopefully it goes well, but if it gets screwed up, it goes south. They're gonna say, well, we tried esports and esports just doesn't work for sports teams, so
right.
We're done. And it's not. That's the furthest from the truth. It's not esports didn't work. It's you didn't have the infrastructure and the expertise in place to execute the way it needs to be done authentically and effectively.
Right. I mean, that's the case. And like Derek said in one episode when we had Malik on, he was like. We know he's got the season in his pocket. Like, that's kind of the vibe, right? It's like, we want you to do, and that's what I see when I see these guys like, these dudes, and I don't want to disrespect them. That's not my goal. So, like, I see, like, FaZe, Swag, and all these people. It's like, what he's bringing is not, like, I watch the stuff, and it's like, it's cool. He's building his own community. So that's what I mean. Like, I'm not taking away from what he's doing. He's still got to turn on every day and do what he's doing, right? And obviously he got to FaZe Clan because he had built a little community. So like that's what made them look and grab. So to boost it. But like there's so many people doing what he's doing that are actually nice. And I go back to this all the time. It's like this is supposed to be a competitive thing. You know what I'm saying? And it could be non-competitive or whatever. Don't get me wrong, like there's parts. Like esports is a small part of cosplay, anime, gaming, esports. But like this narrative of like you can't have like basketball players, look at Kawhi Leonard. He doesn't have much personality, but when you do your job at a high frequency, the stories will follow. The stories and all that will follow based on reality. I don't really see a lot of esports stories spreading out because it seems like that narrative is controlled, right? Like the joke around the internet is that esports all take pictures like like that, right? Like it's like esports player, nobody esports player. Because like that's the narrative.
That's the whole culture.
That's the narrative being drawn because it's not just like that digital redlining, man. Everybody doesn't have a PC. You guys know that. Everybody doesn't have a PC. You know how expensive it is to keep up with a PC. So it's even it's even layered in the publisher's behavior and the esports third parties behavior. Like, you're gonna make every tournament on PC? You by nature are eliminating half the people in the country, black or white. By nature, just look up the numbers. You're eliminating. Oh, a lot of people have computers. It's like, there's more computers in every household than consoles. About 20% more households have a computer than have consoles. Yeah, but you can be on that list if you have a 1997 compact. All right? The joint that used to go, bang, where you turn it on, that counts. So, and we know you can't be competitive with old parts and products. So all the peripherals, I'm talking about Razer, Logitech, Corsair, all these companies making it so that it's like some kind of triumvirate, I see. It's like the publisher makes the game and demands these specs because on the one side, it's like, you gotta keep improving the product. I get it. You know what I'm saying? And then the spec makers, that's the Razers and Corsair and all them, they keep perpetuating it. I get it. You gotta make a new one, a 1080, a 1090, a 1150, a 1235, whatever the fuck. Okay? Right? And you gotta make your money. I get it. But then it's like the publishers, what did I just say? The peripherals.
Third party,
yeah, the peripherals. And then the third parties. They don't even look at that as a problem. They're just like, all right, well, I guess we're just going to run with League of Legends. Shit, 100 million players. But then you wonder why all these lawsuits are happening at Riot. Then you wonder why Activision Blizzard has all this. Because you're only chasing the profit. You're only chasing the profit. You're like, well, shit, we've been doing Call of Duty 10 years, $9 billion a year, $90 billion in 10 years. Who else is doing that? But now the world can see through that, you're not paying the players right. Girls are getting their asses grabbed walking through the office. And there's still 2% colored people. Damn. Like, what really is good? You know what I'm saying? What is really good? Like, tell me what's really good. And that makes me just think, like, it's our job to keep spreading light on this so that, the person might not be in this chat, but the person to make the change, I bet you, will see this chat or, feel inspired by it. So, I just wanted to ask y'all about that because I saw your frustration, Marcus, and I've shared that many a time. You feel me? I've shared that many a time. So that was important to me. But something in the positive news I want to say is that it's really dope that we're now being syndicated by Coin News Extra out of Africa. That's exciting. It's really exciting. Marcus, do you care to expand upon that?
Yeah, shout out to the team there. Coin News Extra is the leading broadcast channel in Africa for blockchain crypto NFTs, and they recently launched a 24/7, news channel or media channel, if you will, where they're covering all emerging tech. So, still going to keep the focus predominantly on blockchain crypto NFTs, but they want to talk about AR, VR, and the metaverse and esports. Esports obviously is an emerging market. As we've all talked about the last 20 some odd episodes, there's so many pieces of emerging tech that go into gaming and esports. So they're going to be syndicating our podcast on that channel and into the community throughout. It's a Nigerian network, but they broadcast throughout Africa. So we cover the entire African region, and that's just the start. They're not the only ones we're working with. Obviously, there's Kwesi and shout out to Gabriel, and there's the folks across the region that we're looking to empower. And Derek made a great point earlier that it's not that we're just trying to go in there and say we are the experts. We're saying we're going to go in and empower you all with our resources and our know-how so that you can be excellent in your region.
And that's a two-way street. That's a two-way street because I'm sure that y'all could show us a lot of things too. That's what we're excited about. We talk about that, Derek, Marcus, and I often about what we're going to do when we make our our plans for African, events and African American and African connected events. And those are things we talk about and think about. And shout out to Kwesi and a lot of the people doing the damn groundwork over there. And it's a two-way street. We know that those things we're talking about are a very American issue. It's a very American, these things we're talking about very, very specifically an American issue. And to bring you to more maturity, for a second. You know, I saw a post the other day that was probably the most sobering post I've seen on the internet in the last 5 years, and said that, you know, white supremacy, right? Because we're talking about, like, you know, trails of this stuff. Not that everybody's a white supremacist, not that, but we know that that shit exists, and we know it's an American pastime. We know that the KKK is still here. We know that. That's not a secret, right? So it said that white supremacy will be solved when white people act like it's a problem that they have and not a black problem that they have to empathize with. Can I get a gem on that?
That's deep.
Okay.
Good luck with that.
It's the truest thing I've read in years. I mean, sentence said so gorgeously. Like, it is not an issue we have to empathize with. We are looking at outlets of Africa because we recognize that we won't have to go in and do the ABA to the MBA effect. Okay? We understand that this is a very, 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 very indoctrinated behavior from these companies. These are the kids of the parents of the stuff you used to see, and you're like, damn, they used to do black people like that. These are their kids. Have you played Call of Duty lately? Have you seen what their kids say to people? Matter of fact, yo kids.
Yeah, it's a learned behavior.
Yo kids are right now in that room saying shit that you would be like, or would you? I don't know. What I know is that we look towards outlets such as what the beauty in Africa and other places around the globe, because we recognize that this behavior that we're seeing, you know, of course, the only thing that I see that's growing, and I put growing with quotations, is HBCU esports. Huh? Like, we just saw we just know that the NCAA that made billions on the backs of the athletes, which is the highest percentage of black people. But then, like, now, thank God that people like Derek and High Point Gamer going out to find these opportunities for these players, because the NCAA didn't say, okay, you know what, we're wrong, you guys should make money because we make billions. They just said, you guys can go get marketing money finally, we won't punish you for it. That logic right there, if you have any sort of logic or any sort of pride or honor, you would just recognize that that is an institutionalized behavior and culture and system, right? And so that right there is like a big reason why we're channeling for E for Life Africa and things that are to come. And I want to say this too. E for Life, you know, Africa, and some of the things that we're going to do working with our partners over on the complex. What was the brother who told Derek that they didn't need us to come take over, and, you know, they needed us to come support?
That was Gabriel.
Gabriel, we are not going to do that. We want to work with you. Please know that. And, you know, that's very important to say. We want to make sure that, and I know Mark said it, Derek's already said it, obviously he said it eloquently, but, yeah, we want to make sure you know, like, I'm not coming to your yard to try to take over your stuff. I don't get down like that, except on the sticks. I do. I will say that. If you play me in Dead or Alive, I treat you just that way. But I won't in real life. Okay, I promise. You know, we want to come over and we want to add opportunity and create opportunity, because we don't see it here. We see the same ABA to MBA to, you know, we see it. It's the same behavior over and over again, and we're just not going to let it go down in a way, right? Except the HBCU thing, which is like we just saw I mean, I don't know about you guys, and I should let you speak. What do you feel about the HBCU esports kind of space? It's like, yeah, it's the same thing, but it's the black people.
I think it's a bubble, you know, like a smaller bubble for the ecosystem. And I hate to keep calling esports a bubble, but it's
the bubble.
Black people shouldn't be relegated to HBCU to be in esports.
Yeah.
Right? And I think Derek made a great point before, you know, that says that you have to be in the educated ecosystem even to be a part of esports, which is not all black people.
Right.
Because we're so diverse, I just look at it as that's a lane and that covers a segment of people. But we still have so many other segments that need to have engagement and adopted into the space, exposure into the space, economic inclusion into the space, that we need to get to work. We can't just say, oh, we're doing one minority thing over here, so that covers everyone, because it doesn't. I know a bunch of hood dudes that'll smash your ass on Madden 2K or even Call of Duty, but they're not going to college. They're trapping, they're selling pills, they're scamming, they're working construction on the weekends or until somebody on the job site pisses them off, and then they're back on the block again.
Right.
Those individuals still need economic inclusion. They can still know how to code. They can still know about content creation, etc. In their own right, in their own culture, in their own style. They don't need to assimilate or be over on this side to get the opportunity of technology. That's the benefit of technology, is you can get it, do it where you're at.
Hello?
One of the main benefits I've enjoyed about technology is, for example, I use Facebook Marketplace like an addict. I don't have an avatar on my picture where you can't look at it and be like, hey, this is a black guy offering to buy my stuff. It's just my name with some picture of Walt Disney World Tower Castle on that bitch. And when I show up to people's houses that I wouldn't have access to if it wasn't for technology, I'm going into gated communities, picking up high-res cameras that I'm using for content creation for a fraction of the price because some rich person just doesn't want it anymore and is cool with selling it cheap. I wouldn't have had that opportunity as just a black person because I wouldn't have known Mr. Gabriel or whatever his name was in that community. But because of technology, I now have access and economic empowerment because now I can go and take that camera, book photo shoots, have a photography studio, make extra income, etc.
Right. I mean,
you know how many people that are worse off than me that could use those same opportunities? A bunch.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely think I think you know, my thing is that too. Like, you on the streets and you trying to get a way out, that really hits with, I know Derek, it hits with you, and it definitely hits with me because that's what I did, right? Like, I just, instead of selling drugs or instead of doing anything, I just started going to tournaments. And I was like, okay, this is a way, right? This is a way. Because, you know, like, I was around pounds of marijuana every day of my life. I was around, you know, every day. Between school and work, I was in a place where, you know, that was happening. You know what I'm saying? So the gaming took me away to the barbershops, to the things. That has nothing to do with, you know, it's not that college is bad or anything. Like, people, you say, like, oh, what is the HBCU thing? Like, oh, well, college is this, and they have, you know, such an institution or whatever. You should support them because they've been around. Whatever. That's not bad. There's going to be a group of people who do that anyway. So make that for them. But for the people who Derek is talking about, Microsoft is going to sell them an Xbox anyway. You know what I'm saying? Microsoft's going to sell them an Xbox anyway. So trying to box...
They're going to be included on the consumer side anyways.
Right.
Why not?
Right. Why not? Why not empower them for the culture that they're building? And again, a ABA, MBA thing. It's like so many black people were playing in the streets. So many black people were playing on courts, segregated courts at that time. That they were like, whoa, these guys have taken this game and taken it to the next level. They can jump up and put the ball in the hoop. Whoa. That's all that's going to happen again. History just repeats itself. So that's all that's happening again. And now it's like, I don't understand, like, what lesson people need to learn to see that people like us, we're created, we're born. The universe is natural selection. We're born and put in these positions to disrupt this balance that is clearly happening. Like, it is clearly happening. It's crystal clear. I think of someone like Aziza Brown, who has been running a fantastic team out of New York called Dynamic Focus, and her players are so loyal. The New Yorkers really engage them. The FGC knows them really well. They're internationally known, and they've had players winning major championships and things like that. How do teams that pop up out of nowhere, like an XSAT, right? I know Greg Selko, you said you're going to become a regular watcher. He's the CEO or VP at XSAT. You said you're going to become a regular watcher, so hopefully you regularly watch this, with all due respect. Hopefully you see this now or later. How could someone like that come into space and have not as much time invested, experience, knowledge and just raw effort and grind years and come and put together something like XSET and Dynamic Focus is still trying to, get that seed funding or get that way of opportunity that they need. That any business, this is not just a thing. Any business needs it. How could that continue to happen unless there was an agenda? That's what I want to know. How could you look me in the face as a grown man and tell me there's not an agenda when I can name people who deserve they've been doing it themselves and they deserve the opportunity. And I'm not bitching or complaining as Derek says. I'm saying that these people are looking at them and telling them no. The same way the Bucks did y'all, people are doing that to them every single day. But then turn around and giving Greg, and that's why I asked you this question, Greg. Why you think that happened, Greg? Why you think you, Clinton Sparks, Aaron Ashley Simon, all y'all running together and building the brand, blowing up and getting all the support you need from the outside? But Aziza, who's had the team for 5-6 years, they're recognized, you know what I'm saying? People know them. Why you think that the same sponsors are sponsoring you, not sponsoring her? I would love for somebody to answer that. And not the two of you, because I know you know the answer. But I would love for somebody outside to answer that. You know what I'm saying? Now, Greg, you came on this chat. And you said, you would love to tell us the story about what happened, or you would love to come on the episode. Well, cool. This is your invite. And that's the precursor I want to give you is why you think something like that is happening. Because you got 4 or 5 of y'all. One is black. Erin Ashley she's black, right? And she, well, biracial, right? It doesn't matter. Either way, it's there's ethnicity, there to counter what I'm saying. So why you think that is there and then an all fully black owned team is not getting that? Why do you think that's happened? I want to know what Greg Selko specifically thinks about that. That's what I want you to come on the show and tell us, because I don't know everything. I'm speaking from a passion point. You know what I'm saying? It's clear. That's very clear. But I'm not going to not tell the truth. And you can look at any data or any facts and it's going to tell you the same thing I'm saying. It's just going to be a number format. And that's all I got to say about it. That's your invite, by the way. We really want you on the show. We really want you on the show.
On another note, I also want to say shout out to people over in Louisiana and Jersey, New York.
Yeah, I got carried away. Yeah,
that storm fucked up a bunch of people.
Yeah. That's important.
Need some help.
I donated $50.
Life has changed.
Yeah, I donated $50. So. That's what I could throw, and I want y'all to know if, when I get a chance, I'm going to throw more. It's definitely important for us to step up in community in those spots, too. So shout out to Chris Turner and Mitchell and everything you guys are doing. We see you. We support you. And, we want to keep pushing that idea that, that it's bigger than gaming. We need to support each other, and we know y'all need y'all power and electricity and lights to do the things we're talking about. So keep supporting. What is it? Gamers Respond?
Gamers Respond, the number 4, IDA. And I think they reached their $3,000 goal yesterday.
Yeah, I saw that. That was amazing. Bubba put that up. But also, they got their event coming on the 12th.
On the 12th, yeah, we'll be supporting that too. And I, congrats on them reaching that goal. But to be fair, the only reason they didn't reach their goal in the beginning, Chris had to go and start calling out specific large brands and media personalities to say I asked for help. The gaming community didn't respond. He had to actually start calling out individual people. So back to your same point, there are organizations that $3,000 is a rounding error, right? But he's having to stretch himself thin to go try to raise that same $3,000. Right. So the ecosystem needs a lot of work. But yeah, for sure, we're going to be supporting that event next week, 100%.
Well, man, yeah, shout out to you guys for reminding me because I forgot. But I want you to know that, our prayers are with you, thoughts are with you. Chris, keep doing your thing. Another brother in the space, really making it clear that it is bigger than gaming, and that's why we're having these conversations. We know they're heavy on you. We know that you feel I just want to, I don't want to be in this. I'm not racist. I'm not in it. It's not about racism. It's not about racism. It's about inclusion and equal opportunity from the start, not one gets it and then goes, we need to have some inclusion. That's how you get 2%. That's how you get 2%. So we're changing the narrative so that we can all eat for life, okay? So I'm really glad we had to get this episode in. Thank you guys. Marcus, let them know what you got going on for the week. Derek, you too, and we'll close it out. It was a good episode. I love when we get these real talks going. And I got to shout Derek too, because he's the one who pushed us to kind of bring these real. Well, you guys know that. You don't need to know that. You guys know he's been doing that from. He used to turn his mic on for 30 seconds and have you like, I need to be a better person. It's like, yeah, I'm not doing my best. So, Marcus, what do you got going on this week?
Yeah, this week, I think Tuesday is the AMA session for the Unlock Your Future. Friday, I think I'm going to go to a junior achievement event. I'm not quite sure yet, but they're going to be doing a new entrepreneurship segment, trying to help underprivileged, under-resourced kids learn about like entrepreneurs in the ecosystem, get excited about building their own businesses. So we're working on those two things and trying to make more progress on the book.
All right now. Positive week. Yeah, I'll have that to you by tonight or tomorrow morning.
Okay, tomorrow's cool.
And I need a little extension. How about you, D? What you got going on?
Like I said, to Unlock Your Future AMA, Ask Us Anything. That's on Tuesday, 9 p.m. I don't know. It seems like it's a busy week. Also, I want to shout out Mario Williams. Got his first touchdown, first college game this weekend.
Oh, yeah. Let's go.
Little homie is balling out. Also, Lorenzo Jones, he had his first TD. So quite a few of my guys got their first plays. So we're excited about this season.
Gamers in the end zone, baby.
What you got this week, Sebastian?
I'm just revamping some things for Eat for Life. I want to really kind of break it down. Marcus had said this thing, like, you got to make things so 5-year-olds can understand it. So a lot of times, I don't get the response I want because I like to delve deep or wax poetic on, like, the beauty of advertising or, even what you were saying, the power of advertising and what it does earlier. It's like, that's what I got to break down. So I'm just working on some things to really, really break down for people in positions like Aziza or you or me, these small businesses that can really transform their skills, or by learning these skills, can really transform their outreach and really, really, really get their business in front of people. Because like you said, you could just use Facebook ads and things like that. I really want to break it down like a 5-year-old understanding it, why like you should be doing it. Like you should not be doing it. That's a double negative, but it's how we do. You shouldn't not be doing it. Like, and I want to reinforce it. So, same thing, grinding it out and ready for another episode. I'm hoping we get JD, but I know also we have Heath from University of Kentucky.
But associate CIO over there.
But I'm really excited because we might have JD Witherspoon, and that's his father was one of my favorite actors, and John Witherspoon Pops, rest in peace. But his son is an amazing person. I met him years ago. He would be a great example of somebody who, is black in the space, and he's got a big YouTube following. He's got his own brand, and I love just listening to JD. He's very smart, and I'm hoping that we can get him on next week. So it's exciting. So that's what I'm working on.
Well, peace. Eat for life.
Eat for life, y'all. Handsome Joe. Shout out to Handsome Joe. Shout out to Aziza Brown. Shout out to Mario Armstrong. Of course, Quessy, way across the water. Shout out to you. Shout out to Alex. Alex says y'all best thing y'all have down there in y'all area in Tampa is the beaches. So shout out to Alex. Shout out to Ryan over on Facebook. I see you. The Badlanders. That's a black esports team. Shout out to y'all. And shout out to the rest of you. I see a lot of you guys are coming in now. Lloyd, shout out to you, Lloyd Redding. Shout out to a lot of you guys who've been supporting us. We're only getting bigger. The message is only getting bigger. Shout out to Rich. Shout out to Tamika. It's Eat for Life. This is the thing this is not a trend. This is a lifestyle. It's not eat for the trend. It's eat for life. So we will see you in 7 days. 6 days, 23 hours. We'll see you soon. Till then, stay godlike. Eat for life. Holla back. Get your dollar back. See you next time.
Peace.